Okay, here we are, sitting in the studio at the lovely Giant Bomb offices here in San Francisco, California. I'm Jeff Gerson, joined by Vinny Caravella.
That's right. I want to make sure you remembered.
Brad Shoemaker.
Okay.
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 Brad, I understand you played Watch Dogs.
I did.
Watch_Dogs, Watch Space Dogs.
I think it's Watch Space Dogs.
I like to watch Space Dogs.
I could go for a space dog.
They went back and forth on it, the underscore, no underscore thing. It's weird.
You brought a clip?
I brought several
so
clips.
you played it. What did you play? About a couple hours out of it?
Yeah, off and on. Like, so they started us at the beginning of the game. I played like 90 minutes from the start.
Okay.
And okay. And then they jumped us ahead. Probably, I think they said about a third of the way through the game. So a lot more of the skills unlocked and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then they didn't let you take your own footage, but they gave you a bunch of footage that I'm sure is probably from the PC version of the game.
Yeah, some of it seems like it's from the PS4, actually. Okay. It's got PS4 button prompts in there.
Okay.
And stuff like that.
Well, when I played it on a PC, like 9,000 years ago, it had PS4.
Actually, they had, I think even all the PC stations they had there were using DualShock 4s.
Yeah.
I bet they have both sets of button prompts, but it's pretty easy to tell the difference just looking at the two versions, which is which.
Between PS4 and PC?
Yes, absolutely.
Like
PS4 looking way better?
Frame rate, sharpness, PC version's definitely the one to play.
Okay.
PS4 version looks fine.
Would you say it's
were they showing any other versions
They
of the game
They didn't have Xbox there.
Okay.
And is it coming out on old consoles? It is, right?
Yeah. Yes.
They definitely did not have those.
Yeah.
It was mostly PS4 and some PC.
Okay.
PS4 is a decent looking game. You know, it's not a bad looking game, but you know.
Sure. Yeah.
PC version.
Noticeable differences.
Pretty profound difference, but
right.
still looks nice.
So let's get into how much for this footage do we have here? Was this kind of just a wide array?
It's a cross section of a bunch of the stuff I played. Here's something of the intro. Right. And then this is just a quick little. This is kind of what it looks like when you start the game, and then it's actually going to cut ahead to part of the intro cutscene.
Okay.
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 Okay, we got a bunch of dead bodies, right? We got 40,000 people above.
So this is Jordy.
Distraction.
No, that's not Jordy.
It's Jordi.
Oh, all right. I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
So, cops arrive.
Same here, but he's kind of your, not exactly your wheelman,
Tell me you're joking. No,
but he's a collaborator of sorts.
All right.
From what I gather, he's kind of out there helping you do your business.
What is your business?
Whatever your hacking business is. So you're Aiden. Let me pause it for a second. You're Aiden, who is kind of like a cyber criminal, kind of
like a vigilante.
No. So
like actual criminal.
He sort of takes on that role later on, but at the beginning, so it kind of flashes forward after the intro. But in the intro, he is like hacking into banks he's pulling like cyber heists and stuff like that. And it seems like, from what I could gather, they kind of tell the story in flashback. You don't get the whole picture right up front, but he seems to run afoul of the wrong people. They don't say who those people are, but there's a bunch of hushed like phone conversations about taking this guy out. This is his last hack. Stuff like that.
Right, yeah. Gonna get them on the black ice.
And then they go after your family. Bad stuff happens. And then it's like a year later, and you're pissed off.
All right.
And it's time to exact
Chicago,
vengeance.
Right?
Yes, you're in Chicago.
What year is it?
1999.
Yep.
Weird.
The future.
Yep, it's the future. 20XX. But yeah, you are literally known as the vigilante from that point on. Like, chatter on the street and news reports and stuff refer to like the work of the vigilante.
The vigilante?
Yep.
Nice.
So that's
Banner
you.
Man.
Here's a little bit of walking around in the open world with all of your
Well, now he's running.
cyber powers, such as this.
Right.
This is the thing they've shown a bunch of, I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah,
Toastmaster.
This is probably the
kinda-
most familiar thing about Watch Dogs.
So,
I initially found this super annoying just because it obscures so much of the screen, but you can toggle it on and off at the press of a button.
does it just happen?
What's that?
Does it just happen?
No,
Is there-
well, you enable this little device you've got that causes these pop-ups to appear. So I don't know if you could see there was a little hack prompt over that one specific person that they're targeting.
I did see that.
Sometimes the hack is just like a digital pickpocket. It's kind of funny. It's just like
Steal Bitcoin.
you get the hack prompt and you hit the button and it's just like, oh, stole $220 out of their bank account.
But in this case, that was that guy's conversation you were listening in
so
on?
sometimes it'll spy on their text message conversation, and in that case, it was the context of the conversation opens up a little side mission.
And now you just cyber hack this car.
That it will then, yep, pretty much. Let's pause it there, but and then it'll then mark that on your map, and you can go after it if you want.
And was that? Did you have any kind of, or when you played it, did you see any kind of prompt aside from that hack thing that would lead you to like listen in on that guy's conversation as opposed to anybody else? You just have to scan everybody.
Well, it only pops that prompt up over certain people.
So it behooves you to kind of just keep that thing running all the time.
Well, if you're going after a story mission, you don't necessarily need to have it open. Like it's kind of just if you want to find contextual missions in the world to go after, you should
have to
turn
be
it on
scanning? Wow.
and look around. Yeah, but I would say this is just anecdotal, but it felt like maybe every dozen people I would get one of those prompts. So it seems like they seed the world pretty heavily with
Did
hacking.
they seem pretty generic?
I never saw one repeated. Definitely,
Okay.
you know, like.
And how many of them were missions versus just like, hey, here's $200?
It seemed like it was weighted more toward just like flavor stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you would see text message conversations about people's like sexual preferences and eavesdrop on phone conversations about weird stuff. You know, there's a lot of just kind of goofy humor.
So is there
Out there.
audio and text messages?
I'm pretty sure I remember at least one actual voice conversation that I picked up with that thing.
All right.
So I think this is getting straight into some combat, actually.
Radial menu here.
I don't think I did this mission. At least this doesn't look super familiar to me. But also, I believe that's the focus mode, which you don't have at the beginning of the game. It's just a a slow down time type
Can
thing.
you pause it for a sec?
Sure.
Can you tell me what the meters on the screen? Like, what's happening here? I see your ammo and a gun. That
yes.
I recognize.
I
see
actually can't tell you
grenades.
everything that's going on here.
What's the wiggly thing?
That's the one I'm not sure about.
okay. What's the thing on the right?
The lower right,
Yeah.
the red thing. I'm not super sure about that one either. Let's watch it and see if we can
Okay.
figure it out.
I would think of the lower right as like police response. That's my guess.
The thing in the lower left looks like your threat meter, like your alert meter, but I think it's functioning differently here. I mean, the bigger point to make here is you see all these little button prompts in the environment everywhere.
Yeah, the things
The
that are
camera and
yeah.
explode and protector and all that stuff. Like, you could basically hack the environment in real time as you're running around, which is kind of a goofy contrivance, you know? It's like, oh yeah, of course he can hack every system in the world ever at the touch of a button while in a firefight, but
Well, it seems like you are grossly outgunned here.
yeah, and some of those guys, if you see, like that guy had an armor symbol on him,
Yeah.
and it tells you up there enforcer kill. Like the enemies, there are like elite enemies and veteran enemies.
You hacked some cover.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're hacking cover, you're hacking things that you can explode.
You hacked that gas tank with your gun computer.
There's just tons of like environmental triggers all over the place, and that stuff can be kind of cool. Like I was in a foot chase with a guy. You know, the objective was just like subdue this guy, get his information or
You hacked
whatever.
that guy with your fists.
Yep.
And a,
That's a life hack right there.
Yeah.
Hit a guy with a baton to take him down. But when I was chasing this guy on foot, I was able to like blow out a steam valve right as he passed it, and it
Right,
just knocked him
yeah.
down. I was able to just roll up on him.
yeah, when I saw it, it was stuff like, and maybe this will be what this is, but there was like, you could hack the traffic lights to work in your favor.
Yeah,
or
you can
could,
see some of that here. Like
bring up some
bridges, like drawbridges
bridges
here.
and barriers in the road and stuff like that.
Definitely,
too.
yeah. Yeah, like the whole, like in fact, I think he just hacked that helicopter.
Right.
Seems like tons of stuff like that all
Is
over
that
the place.
something? I mean, because that's something that focus mode lets you do, kind of.
I think
slow
focus,
things down so you can kind
I
of.
think focus is what lets you slow down time. Yeah,
Yeah.
like I said, I didn't have it in the early missions, which is the vast majority of what I played.
Right.
You can see that kind of phone-looking battery meter down there too. That governs how much you can hack. You know, like toggling a traffic light might take 1 bar of battery, but a bridge might take 2. So you can't just be kind of.
And that recharges automatically, or is it pickups?
Yeah,
or
as far
both?
as I could tell, yeah, it just comes back automatically. You're also crafting a lot of stuff. Like this, I don't know if this blackout is specifically what I'm thinking of, but there is a blackout ability you can trigger in some places. And you have to craft that. Like there are all these materials that you pick up. Like sometimes you'll like jack a car and it'll be like, oh, found 2 chemicals in the glove box or whatever. It's broken down into categories like that, like
Yeah.
chemicals and
And those are like
circuit
consumables
boards.
or something. Like the blackout
Yeah,
would be like
yeah, yeah.
you have to
So-
craft one and use it once. It's not like you're crafting it to unlock it. Okay.
Totally. And you can craft those on the spot from that radial menu. It'll just, like if you select blackout, it'll show the materials you need and how many you have. And if you have enough, you just hit a button and it crafts, and then you can use it.
Okay.
There's a ton of progression. Like there's a experience system with. There's a notoriety progression of abilities that unlock, but then there's a whole separate like giant radial menu of abilities that tie into like combat and hacking and driving and blah blah blah. It seems like, I mean, it's definitely not an RPG, but there's some variability in like what areas you want to focus your skill points on.
And what are you spending skill points on in something like driving? Is it just like you drive better, or like you fishtail less?
I guess it's not just driving so much as car-related stuff. Like I think the first car ability I unlocked was the ability to jack any car by disabling all the alarm systems and stuff first.
yeah.
Because if like before I had that, if I were to get in a car that was not mine, it would set off a police scan.
Okay.
Like the car alarm would start going, and the cops don't immediately come to your location. What it is a CTOS scan, because like I guess CTOS is the big unifying like security system
Right,
that runs
yeah.
society in this.
It's why it makes
in this
sense
future.
that you could hack anything anywhere,
right.
because it's all governed
You're,
by
yeah,
one
you're all
thing,
tied
but-
into the grid or whatever
Yeah.
through that thing. But yeah, they'll start a scan, and you kind of have to get out of that radius as fast as you can before they actually show up. So yeah, there were a lot of abilities that kind of made things, kind of greased the wheels basically, made things
Right.
easier to hack and get around.
Did it feel like you can spec in like stealth or combat?
No, it was definitely nothing like that.
Okay,
like
so you were engaged in
You were
combat.
playing this as an open world game in the vein of like a Grand Theft Auto or something with
Okay.
all these extra hacking abilities. It's just kind
This
of
is not Deus Ex.
no, absolutely not. But it's just more of like, what do you want to be easier?
Right.
Do you want to be able to hack more? Do you want to be able to get cars easier? Stuff like that. There's also an alignment. It's more of a reputation system, really, but it looks like a moral slider where it'll go left or right of center based on how you treat people.
Okay.
Like a lot of those side missions where you need to subdue a guy because you're the vigilante, so you're just trying to stop crimes and stuff. If you kill the guy, you'll get like more positive reputation out of it. Or I'm sorry, if you don't kill him, you get more like kind of good karma out of it.
So is that like shooting him in the leg, or is that using your baton instead
It
of
was
shooting
for me.
him?
It was
or
yeah.
what?
It was mostly rolling up on him and doing like the baton takedown instead of just straight up, wasting him.
Those extending batons are super fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if you ever
yeah,
like
yeah.
flipped one out.
Oh, absolutely.
But, like, that's
Yep.
What does that get you?
just
I
the out of sight. Jennifer Lopez, she has one of those.
No.
that whips the guy's ass and then he like collapses it against the wall.
Yeah,
Says,
yeah,
"We
those-
tussled."
those things are serious.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie.
The little bit that I dug into that system, it seemed like it would be like the better your reputation, the less likely people would be to call the cops on you if they saw you doing something that they didn't approve of. You can kind of get away with more, I think.
Do like criminals or something help you if you got a bad reputation?
know.
What's the benefit?
I have no idea.
Maybe it's just easier to.
I don't know
shoot
that there
the
is a
dudes.
benefit. I think
Right.
it seems more like it would be a penalty for you being super reckless and just killing everybody.
Right.
But it was kind of surprising, like how many different just layers of menus there are with different like skill point distributions and that moral alignment. Like it's kind of a pretty dense game mechanically, from what I could see.
Can you swim?
And the crafting and all that stuff. I can't remember.
All right.
Maybe.
See what kind of open
maybe.
world game this is.
This
See
is
more of this.
This is my favorite thing in the whole game. There's a guy hanging out on a street corner up against the wall like some kind of drug pusher, and you walk up to him and he's like, "You want to go on a digital trip?"
I do.
And he gives you what looks like a USB stick that you stick in your ear. And then you get digital high.
Oh man, you should not.
And then you go on missions like this.
And you play as a giant spider.
Get in a spider tank. It's like, it's almost, these things are almost Saints Row-esque, I think, in their absurdity. It's just like, you're going on a,
Here's a good
destroy
excuse for them
everything?
to
It's
just,
just-
like,
it's just
totally
an
go out of
excuse to-
world and
just an excuse to, like do this ridiculous thing that they came up with and thought was fun. And driving this thing around and blowing everything up is actually super fun.
That is pretty ridiculous. And then you're back.
Don't have a lot of, actually, the one of those that I did at the end of the mission, when I quit out of it, I woke up in like somebody's swimming pool, like across town. Clearly had been on a trip.
Cool.
But even in that thing, like the spider tank had ability points that I could upgrade on skills just for that spider tank.
Weird.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
all right, what do we got here?
They had the multiplayer enabled at this thing. I believe this is some of that.
I don't even know what that means anymore.
It's kind of less seamlessly integrated into the world than I think we had been led to believe. Like people will not silently enter your game world and start messing with you. That initial reveal video from a couple years ago made it seem like.
Right.
And they all come in as not Aidens.
You
right?
are, yeah, they'll look different, but you are opting into multiplayer. Sometimes it'll pop up and ask if you want to get involved in some multiplayer thing that's going on, or you can, I think, initiate the search yourself. Sorry, we just wrapped back around. I guess I can play this again.
Oh, is that all of it?
Yeah, that was all the B-roll that we got.
Yeah.
So you are manually kind of searching into these games, but they do take place in the same open world city. that the game does. It's not like it's spawning you.
And if you're opted in, then you end up with stuff like where if someone on a tablet or something is able to.
That's a different mode, actually.
Yeah, but that's something that can happen when you're in the single player doing stuff.
Yeah,
right?
but I think they still challenge you to it. You still
Okay.
get a prompt popping up asking if you want to do it or not. This is one where, wow, this thing is really short.
Just let it run.
But
This clip is not interesting enough for you to
yeah, well,
put
I was
on
going
a
to tell
third
you what the
time,
mode
so-
is. I mean,
yeah.
you're basically, this is basically just a capture and hold. There's like a file you have to get your hands on.
Okay.
And the longer you hold it, the longer it unlocks. But it seems like whoever has possession of it when it unlocks just wins, which is crappy because I held onto the file from like 30% to 90-something%.
But since you didn't have it at the end,
And
you
they
still
got their
lost.
hands on it for the last 5% and won the match. But you can steal it remotely by like hacking people, which is kind of what's going on right there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And my understanding was I think some of the like money and XP from those multiplayer matches you take back into your single player game. The same is true of that tablet multiplayer, which is kind of a weird thing. On the tablet, you're controlling a little helicopter from a map view, flying around and like
We got a bunch of dead
hacking
bodies.
stuff in the environment to try to stop a guy from driving around.
We need a
And
distraction.
I guess that stuff feeds into the single player as well.
I called the cops.
Okay.
In terms of the money you earn and
Oh,
stuff.
yeah, true story.
Yeah.
So, cops arrive, and Maurice's little band
All right.
of brothers arrive.
So how is when you're playing on the PC, the frame rate and everything?
I didn't play. I just watched
Oh,
the
you just
PC.
watched it.
I played PS4.
Messy altercation.
But yeah, the
You and I
PC is definitely sharper and smoother.
You'll appreciate the plan.
PS4 seemed to be running at 30 frames a second. I think this is PS4 footage. It still looks,
Looks like a pretty good game.
still looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, looks all right.
If you can use
For what you played, I mean, I think the big concern people have had with this is, that's going to be like Assassin's Creed 1, where that's just like kind of the same three things over and over again. Did you
It seemed
get
like
a
there
sense
was
of the variety?
way more variety than that, from
Okay.
what I could tell. So when they jumped us ahead to a third of the way through, we only got to play one mission at that point in the game. But the mission was kind of cool because at that point in the game, you seemed like you were involved in some kind of like gangland struggle between multiple factions of gangs.
Yeah.
And you were kind of basically you would figure out where they were going to meet up and do some kind of deal or handoff, and you got there ahead of time, and you basically that's right before you get sticky bombs, so you can like plant the sticky bombs at different points in the environment where it seems like they might hang out
Ah, yeah.
during this deal.
Yeah.
So I like put bombs all over the place, and then like popped up some cover, like you saw you could hack that cover.
Right.
And then waited for them to roll up, and then as they're like approaching and talking to each other, I was able to like trigger the different bombs I had set to blow up their cars, and then like kind of waste them in different ways.
So are you
That's pretty-
triggering them all at once, or are you looking at the bomb and hitting hack to kind of
you
detonate?
can see a lot of that here. Like if even bombs that you throw out,
Yeah.
stuff like that. In fact,
Oh,
you can
yeah,
see
yeah,
right there,
the
he
icon and
slows
you
it
got
down
it,
and then
yeah.
blows it up midair. Like
Yeah.
that stuff's kind of cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a seems like pretty decent freedom of choice to trigger different things at different times. But even the side stuff, from what I could see, granted, there's certainly going to be repetition. Like there are gang hideouts, which there seem to be quite a few of.
Yeah.
That convoy thing that popped up off that text message conversation on here seems to be one of those repeated activities.
Okay.
But it definitely seems much more robust than something like that for Assassin's Creed. There are towers that you climb,
okay.
like cell towers that you hack. And that actually, it doesn't reveal the map exactly, but it does fill in like extra side missions and collectibles and stuff. But climbing those was a lot more interesting than in something like Far Cry or Assassin's Creed, because obviously you're not just parkouring up the side of a building.
Right.
You actually were doing things like hacking a forklift to create like a little thing you could climb up on to get to the next level, and it was a lot more.
Lighting here looks good.
Interesting.
This police car.
Yeah, it's a good looking game.
Yeah, it
I
looks
think.
nice.
I don't have any problem with the way it looks. It seems like there's a pretty good amount of variety in there as an open world game. Like it was full. The map looked like it was full of stuff that I would want to seek out and
I
do.
thought about buying one of those batons once.
Yeah.
I just knew I'd just eventually hurt myself.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I've spent some time with one. They're fun to mess with, but
Yeah.
like, what would you actually use it for?
Exactly. That's, like unless you're just going to dedicate yourself to like, I'm just going to go beat people up with this
Right.
thing.
Right.
Because I really want to use it. It's like, what are you really doing?
Kind of like having a stun gun. I mean, you can't go around.
Well, with a stun gun, at least you can, make the noise and
Yeah,
zap
sure.
it, and
Sure.
that's just fun on its own.
Or you could be like that kid at my high school who actually zapped people with his stun gun, and then the cops got called.
Yeah, that seems like an appropriate response to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, probably not.
You shouldn't do that to people. That's a messed up thing to do.
Nor should you engage in vigilante justice.
Well,
You could just play Watch Dogs, I suppose. It seems pretty cool. I'm definitely looking forward to playing it. Like going into this thing with 6 months delay and everything.
Right,
It's like,
yeah.
is this thing going to be a complete shambles?
Yeah, I
what
just
brought
kind of
about
kept
this.
hearing stories about just like, oh, development's going so bad. There's all this other stuff going
Yeah,
on.
but it
Like,
seems totally competently put
whoa.
together.
So press circle to hide in car is
Yes.
a really conceptually cool thing.
Yeah, you can do that at any time.
So you like are taking cover kind of inside the car
yeah.
and hoping that you don't get
I did that.
seen.
I did that once when the cops were after me. I don't know if you can tell here, but all you do is just literally cut all the lights and duck down in
Yeah.
the car, make it look like it's just an empty parked car, and it seemed like it worked.
Huh.
Like they kind of just
That's-
kept going.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was kind of a neat little feature. It's fun. It's fun to run around in the environment, having all this extra access to functionality, just
Yeah.
scattered around you everywhere. Is pretty empowering, I think. And being able to eavesdrop on people, there was a decent amount of kind of amusing writing and just like the little background details on people that it pops up.
Yeah, yeah. And
Like you-
big dumb spider tank.
yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, this thing was really dumb. There was another one where I was in some hellish looking hot rod and there are like people stumbling around with their heads on fire everywhere, and I had to like steal their souls
Oh, yeah.
by running over them.
And just like copious amounts of, I guess, are those pentagons or hexagons? Just, whatever, the polygons of the
Yes,
future
yes.
of cyberspace.
Yeah, plenty of hexes, I
Plenty
think.
of hexes.
Yep, for sure.
Sure, why not?
Did they seem like they were gating parts of the world with any kind of crazy digital future tech, digital bridges that are out?
Not really. It seemed like you could access the entire city from the get-go, but there are only like two areas of the city where you are CTOS connected at the beginning.
Okay.
Which
so is
I-
that how they're doing it? They're
Yeah,
like-
and I never got to the point where I was able to like hook up the CTOS hacks in another district.
Okay.
Oh, so you could theoretically go into a district where you have no hack
Yeah,
control at
yeah.
all. Okay.
Or you wouldn't be able to hack
Alright,
the
that
traffic
makes
lights
sense.
and
Yeah,
bridges and
okay.
stuff like that.
All right.
And again, I didn't see what the missions were that
That got you that access.
would get you into the system in those areas, but
Those are probably the main story missions, I
it
assume.
could be. I'm not. Well, actually, one of the Ubisoft guys implied you might be able to kind of just do it,
Jeez.
but I don't know how.
All right.
That's cool. So you walked away
Yeah,
pretty hopeful.
yeah. Pretty positive impressions. It's like it. In a lot of ways, it feels like a pretty familiar open world crime type game.
Yeah.
But with that extra layer of access to all this functionality and stuff.
Did you see any missions that had you?
seems cool.
So not to get bogged down here, but when I saw it, there was stuff where you were basically looking through security camera views.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then
yeah.
You were able to hack things in that
Yeah.
room as long as you had line of sight
Yep.
through the security
Yeah,
cameras.
you
Was that
definitely-
still there? Okay.
I only saw that in the intro in the story missions. I don't assume
Okay.
they're not going to scatter.
That seemed
all
like
over the
something that was
world.
like, that was a little different than kind of just you see a thing, hack a thing happens.
Yeah.
It was like hack a viewpoint,
Yep.
and then you can hack doors from that viewpoint to get into an area
there were definitely
or
cases
make
where-
things hard for guards
Right,
or whatever.
definitely cases where you'd like jump into the one security camera you can see from where you are, and then like jump into another one, and then another one,
Okay, all right.
and then you would be able to see the door controls that you would unlock
Yeah.
to get your character through.
Okay.
One of the side missions, like a gang hideout or something that I did. No, actually, it was a mission where I had to subdue a specific guy in like a little gang hideout. It seemed useful to jump up into the camera and find that guy, figure out where he was, and like what I would have to do to get to him without killing him. You can hack like people have explosives like grenades on their belt. You can
Ah.
like hack those remotely.
That's really mean.
So I hacked a grenade, and then it blew up the guy I was trying to get to
That's really mean.
from that camera. But yeah, like there seems like there's some freedom to like hop around viewpoints and
Yeah.
kind of plan out your strategy that
Cool.
way.
How's Aiden?
Fine, I guess.
All right. I feel like Ubisoft has like for me, as a hit or miss on their main protagonist.
Yeah, I don't know.
Which one are we getting? Are we getting? Oh, it's douchebag. piece
They-
of shit.
I mean, they-
Are we
they-
Can he,
getting-
can he climb trees really well?
Not really. They lay on the family stuff pretty thick at the beginning. Like you
Has
kind
he
of.
got an attitude? Is he snarky? He's got big attitude.
No, he's a little more gravelly, I would say.
Okay.
Pretty serious.
Your Sam Fisher type.
Yeah, he's kind of on a quest.
But cybercrime.
Sorta, yeah. He's kind of definitely looking for some revenge. I mean, this guy is your comic relief guy for sure.
Yeah.
Did I mute it?
Okay.
Did we lose sound?
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
called the cops.
Oh,
know
there
what
he
it
is.
sounds
He
like.
called
There
the
it is.
cops.
He did.
Oh, yeah, true story. So, cops arrive, and Maurice's little.
Yeah, and he's all
brothers
like, pop, pop, pop. Yeah. No, I get it.
Got some good hair.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's the guy.
Tell me you're joking.
Cool.
Okay, we got a bunch. Okay.
Well,
we
thanks,
got a-
Brad.
Okay.
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 Okay. We got a.
Oh, he called the cops. I know.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
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 No,
Okay.
God damn it. Okay, that's Watch
you hacked
Dogs. It's out in like a month or something, right?
Yep, it's out next month.
Cool. I'll play that.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Brad.
Yeah, thanks. It seems pretty cool.
Okay.